Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and round number 20 of the Apex Online Racing League here for the Brazilian Grand Prix, the second from last race on the calendar here at Interlagos. Now if you guys did miss the last race for the Mexican Grand Prix before jumping into this one, then do check out that race by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen and go catching up to speed on that race before arriving at this one. Now again, a little bit of a short update. Now USA I missed, and Mexico was the first race I did with since the new patch, and I could really notice already the difference in tyre temperatures. I could really perform at a much higher level, and this time I could really notice at Brazil. I did some practice, and I could really feel that the car this time I was able to really push it. I could run a really aggressive setup, and generally speaking I felt really confident. And for once I also got a very decent amount of practice in. It's something that's been letting me down all season long. And for this one I was well prepared, not as good as I could have been, but still well prepared. And as you can see, we went out for 3 runs in qualifying. Our first run we go straight to the top of the time sheets to the 107.2, a very strong opening lap time, and we went out for another 2 more runs, of course, all of them on the super soft tyres because there is rain expected tomorrow in the race in the first part of the Grand Prix and the intermediate. So pretty much there's no reason to go slower on tyres or more conservative, and we're going to just absolutely go for it on the super soft. And as you can see, currently the lap's looking pretty good on our second attempt, and we are looking on target to probably improve. We're currently P2 behind Corny, the championship leader and the man that can potentially wrap up the championship this race. We do improve, but ultimately we stay second, just half a tenth shy of Corny as we drop into the 1 minute 07.1s. But now we're going to ride on board for my best lap of the qualifying session here. Straight away for turn 1, you're looking at the board on the right hand side. There's a reference point to try and brake, and you want to go down to 3rd gear and then really focus on your exit through turn 2, opening up turn 3, trying to go as flat as possible through here, open up DRS, and so far it's been a perfect first sector. Now for turn number 4, you're looking at the 50-meter board, down to 4th gear, really attack the inside curb and let the car run out wide naturally, pick up your traction as we go up the hill now into the twisty section of sector 2. A double right hand combination here of 6 and 7 hits you really quick. It's all about letting the car run out to the curb and then bringing it back in for the apex at the hairpin of 8 as we now go downhill towards turn 9. Again, important to keep a tight line through there to really keep the car nice and straight as we now go into the final of the hairpins. A very tricky one, this one. You want to really focus on your exit here because there's a nasty bump on the exit, and you want to try and straighten up the car before you leave the corner as we now go in towards the final sector, the last major break point here. We absolutely nail that corner and get perfect traction on the exit, and we're currently 3.5 tenths up. This has been pretty much a perfect lap using overtake ERS now as we go up to the line. Where are we going to go? And it's going to be pole position, the first man into the 106s, and I can tell you I was the only person to do a 106. A very strong qualifying session, my first pole position of the season. It has been coming. I came very close at Silverstone, half a tenth off, and I also should have had pole at Germany, but ultimately I had too many screen freezes. But finally at Brazil, we've managed to bag a pole position, my first pole in probably 5 years since last race in AOR back on F1 2013. So I was absolutely ecstatic, really happy with the performance. Qualifying was absolutely perfect, and now we've got it on pole position. It's all about converting the pole position into a race win on the Sunday. You can see there we've got Julian in P2 in the Red Bull, we've got Lemon in P3, Corny the championship leader is P4, and then we've got Signac in P5, then Lasser's P6. Lasser being the main championship contender here today versus Corny, so he's up against it to try and catch up to the Mercedes. Then we've got Hazard, Brownie, Assassin and Skatey running off the top 10, with Hayden and JSR missing out on a top 10 position. But all in all, that is your grid. Only 12 runners here today at Brazil, but with that being said, let's just jump into the race here where the rain awaits us around 20 here in Interlagos for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Right, so jumping on to the formation lap, and as you can see, lights are out and away we go. Intermediate conditions here at Interlagos, and as you can see the strategy on screen, there is a chance it's going to dry out midway through the race, but there's also a chance it could get wet again towards the end, so it's going to be pretty much a bit of a topsy-turvy race. Strategy is going to be all over the place, and there's lots of possible options on the table, so we're going to have to kind of play it lap by lap and see what happens. But here we are then, getting onto the grid and getting ready to start this race from pole position as we get ready for the 5 red lights here in Interlagos. The lights are on and they are off. away we go here for the penultimate race of the season. A good start off the line as we move over to the inside to cover off the inside line in turn 1, avoiding Lemon or Julian getting down the inside, and we do a good job of defending that line. And now we get great traction through turn 2 and 3 to really open up a gap already here and defend ourselves and pretty much cover ourselves from any possible attacks down towards turn 4. As you can see, fuel wise we are quite light. I went quite aggressive because I wanted to be quite quick in these, especially these early laps in these conditions, because these are critical laps. As you can see, the little tank stopper as the tyres are still a little bit cold and not ideally up to temperature, and also we are also kind of getting used to the wet conditions on this lap 1. But so far things are good. But now sector 2, as you can see here, everyone started to close up a little bit. I noticed sector 2 in the wet I was a little bit poor compared to the other people around me, but I seem to be pretty damn quick through 1 and 3, and I think that's down to set up and me having some pretty damn good straight line speed. But so far so good as we come towards the end of lap 1, setting a purple lap and going on to lap 2, and so far we've got a nice little gap to Lemon already here as we begin to see if we have the pace, not just in the dry but also in the wet, to try and open up a gap. However, just a couple of corners later we run wide at turn 4 there, and that's going to cost me a little bit of time. Luckily Lemon wasn't close enough to capitalise. We get loose again on the curb as well, but like I said, Lemon not really close enough to really make a move and cash in on that mistake. So far things are going pretty well, and like I said, it's all about adapting to these wet conditions. As we now go on towards the end of lap 2, we set a purple lap, so even with those mistakes we had the pace, but Lasser improves behind. But then this time at turn 1 we run extremely deep, we lock up pretty badly, pushing the limits too much. Luckily again though, no one's there to pick up the pieces, and we get a good exit out of turn 3. But this time Lemon is right on my tail as we go down towards turn 4. Look at the speed I have though. Even those guys have a slipstream, we are able to stay in front, and we cover off the inside line at turn 4 beautifully, place our car in the ideal position, and we manage to stay in front of Lemon, who's currently going side by side with Julian. So that's going to give me the chance once again to stay in front and try and pull away from the battles. And this time, as you can see, cutting on towards the end of lap number 4, Julian has made the move on Lemon, the P2, as we set a personal best, and it's me and Julian who are actually the fastest guys on track. We started to pick up the pace, and yeah, pretty much this was me trying to stretch out the pack a little bit and seeing if they had what it took to kind of stick with me. And so far, after 5 laps, it was only Julian who really had the pace to stick with me. You can see there my tyres looking pretty good so far. My rear's a little bit more worn on the fronts, but still no real bad surprises here as we go down towards sector number 2 on lap number 5. Now towards the end of the lap, as you can see here, we actually do set a purple lap of our own, responding to Julian's from the last lap, and also just showing that we do have the pace. And the gap behind there, you can see, is actually starting to really get big now to Lemon. There's a massive battle going on for 3rd place, and this is allowing myself and Julian to pull away in 1st and 2nd place respectively. And it's all about just keeping the lap times consistent while also saving the tyres, because you're not going to know when the dry weather could arrive, or are we going to have to go into another set of inters. It's kind of all up in the air at the moment, and we cut all the way onto lap number 10, quite a few laps in, and eventually the faster guy started to get past the traffic, and Lasser got P3. He obviously has to win the championship, and he has to win this race at best to try and keep his hopes alive, and he started to pick up the pace in the Haas. Also did Brownie in the other Red Bull, which was quite surprising. He showed some really good pace, and generally speaking the laps ticked by, and we still had consistent pace, as did Julian. And the real story here was that Lasser and Brownie were really starting to find the pace, and they were starting to break away and actually catch up to myself and Julian in 1st and 2nd. So pretty much the pack was starting to reform slowly but surely, as you can see here now, all the way on lap 14, and they pretty much caught up as we lose connection there with JSR in the bottom of the screen. And so far we're still holding 1st place. We've got a 1 second gap to Julian, so that's fine. But Lasser and Brownie are very quick. As you can see again there, Lasser setting the pace in the Haas, and through turn 1 we just about get the car slowed down. We almost get hit up the rear, but luckily no real issues there as we now skip on towards the end of lap 15. And this time you can see Julian's right on my tail. I'm struggling on my tyres. My rears are absolutely cooking. They're on 70% wear, and we're starting to feel the pressure now from the Red Bull behind. But luckily we still, we're not losing our composure. That's the main thing. We're staying calm, and there's still plenty of laps, and it's all about strategy. We all knew the rain was stopping. You can see there's no more visible rain on screen. The track is drying up, so we're all trying to see if we can hang on and get onto the dryers, and see if we can make that work strategy wise, because there's a long way to go. As you can see on lap 16 here, now Julian once again picking up the toe. You can see my rear tyres there absolutely cooking on 77%, pretty damn worn tyres. And now into turn 1 we actually just about managed to stay in front of the Red Bull and brake late enough to keep that 1st place. But then on the exit of turn 2 going down towards turn 3, You can see we've had a good exit, but still we are under pressure here as we request a pit stop for this lap because I cannot stay on these tyres any longer. But then down towards turn 4, as you can see, we get hit from the rear, and I think it's Lasser who ran deep in the Haas. He completely misjudged his braking zone, and he hit me. He overtook Julian, and as you can see, we get pushed off the track there, and all of a sudden it's all gone pear-shaped for us, and it wasn't even our fault. It just Lasser misjudged his brake zone, and we lost a hell of a lot of time. And now we've got Brownie in the other Red Bull all over the back of us here, and you can see all 4 of us visibly struggling for the grip, and we've now been recommended to come in for the dry tyres this lap. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're not going to mess around because on the radio there was no sign of rain just yet. You know, it's kind of the roll of the dice. There was a couple of messages that said the rain was 15 minutes away, and there's a few messages that said the rain wasn't going to come at all. So it was kind of 50-50 in terms of the risk you wanted to take, because the track is quite clearly not ready for the dry tyres yet. It's still very much intermediates. You know, even though it doesn't look like it, this is more of a case of the tyres being absolutely wasted at 80% on the rears. You know, it's not a case of the track being dry. And either way, we're going to come to the pit lane though, and we're going to come in for a set of tyres, and my tyres are going to be the soft compound tyres. Now here's where the race gets interesting. Julian comes in, he gets a front wing change and a set of medium tyres put on his Red Bull. Lasser comes in, he goes onto fresh intermediates. We come in and we go for soft. So 3 different strategies here. As you can see, Lasser there in front of us on inters. We rejoin in front of Julian because Julian needed to have a front wing change. So we recover that position that we lost. That wasn't really my fault in the first place. But the second I hit the track on the dry tyres, I could tell the grip wasn't there. The track was not that quick, and it was almost flashbacks of Mexico from last week where the same thing happened. We put the dryers way too early, and I was having flashbacks. The track was not grippy at all, and we was really struggling here. You know, the car just didn't work. DRS enabled now on lap 19, but you can visibly see the pace isn't there. The car is not really working that well, and even though DRS got enabled, you'll see now towards the end of the lap 19, Lasser goes purple, and you can see the gap he's opened up because we came out of the pits behind Lasser. So that's how fast he is, and the track is still very much intermediate territory. You can see there, we do actually set an okay lap time, pretty close to a personal best, but still the track is very delicate at the minute, and this is why the strategy was kind of a toss-up in a 50-50, because you could have definitely gone to the inters, and all these laps that have gone by, the rain, the next lot of rain, so to speak, is getting closer and closer. It's about 10 minutes away now. So in my head, I was saying to myself, please, 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 I need the track to dry out so I can make these dry tyres work, because otherwise the rain's going to arrive and it's going to be a wasted stint. But as you can see, Corny's now gone behind us. He's currently on the soft, so he's got past Julian, and he seems to have the pace. But now on lap 20, finally you saw the first sector, and now the second sector is purple, and finally the track is starting to come to me a little bit, and we are starting to find the grip. However, this is where the race got interesting. Brownie, Lasser, and I think someone else, I can't remember who it was. Oh yeah, Lemon, Brownie and Lasser all stayed out on the intermediates. Like, they came in, they put a fresh set of inters on, and they didn't come in for dryers. They stayed on their intermediates because they were hoping for the rain to arrive. In the meantime, I was literally ripping up the sector time, setting purple lap after purple lap. The track was getting more and more dry, and now on lap 22 you can see Brownie in front of us and Lasser in front of him, and we're starting to make some big progress here as we close down on these guys, going down towards the end of sector 1. Into sector 2 you can see there everyone on the inters is really struggling, and actually no, it's Lemon who's now second, so Lasser is actually taking the lead back in the house. But now here we go, we're putting the pressure on Brownie in the Red Bull, and this should be a pretty straightforward move. We have to be careful though, offline is still pretty wet, so we need to try and keep it on the dry stuff as we go to the inside, and we're going to go for a very safe move, not pushing the limits too much there with Brownie, and we're going to take the normal racing line, and we are up into third place in this race, and now we're behind Lemon in the full cylinder. Lemon getting out of shape there on traction. He goes defensive. We're going to try and have a look around the outside here. Is there any grip? We get onto the curb, but we still get the power down, and we take the inside line, and we make that move. Good move there around the outside. Just about enough room there left by Lemon, and we make it stick first time of asking, and we are now second in the Brazilian Grand Prix on lap 22, going on to lap 23, and the track is still getting dry here, and still no sign of the rain, and Lasser still staying out along with Lemon, and also Brownie. Everyone's still staying out here, so fair play as we set another purple lap, and at this point you kind of have to accept defeat, and I think we got the strategy absolutely perfect. At first, I wasn't sure. At first, I thought we messed it up because the track didn't have the grip, but then it finally came to me, and as you can see, here we are, side by side with Lasser, down towards turn number 4, and we are going to retake first place in the Brazilian Grand Prix, and there we go, job done, strategy absolutely perfect, and we take first place back in this race, and we have a nice comfortable gap to Corny behind. Corny is the next dry tyre runner, and he's about 10 seconds behind me. So as you can see, we're still setting the pace here. As the track dried up, I was the fastest guy on the track, even faster than anybody else on the dries. But then the second the track did dry up, Corny, as you can see there, started to go faster than me. So yeah, pretty much the gap kind of neutralised itself, but generally speaking, the gap between me and Corny was between 8 to 10 seconds throughout the entire stint. As you can see, they're still setting the purple laps, but Corny had a little bit more pace than me. But crucially speaking, we had a nice comfortable gap. You know, Julian there in third place as we pick up a track extension warning there, and so far things are looking pretty damn well. You know, those guys on the inters, Lasser, Lemon and Brandy, all came in, so they're going to be pretty much out of the equation now. They're going to be a non-factor in this race as we pick up our second track extender of the race, 2 on the same lap. And as you can see again, lap 29, another personal best, and slowly but surely we're getting closer to the finish line here, and we're getting edging towards that first win. But then look at that, we just pick up a third track extender in 3 laps, and that's going to be a 3-second time penalty, and Corny is now 11 seconds behind. So the pressure's starting to build here. As you can see on lap 32 now, our tyres are starting to go off as well because we've been on these for a long time. But then going through sector 2, the first rain droplets started to appear again, and the rain was back at Interlagos. So at this point I was thinking to myself, wow, I think somebody up there doesn't want me to win today because they keep on throwing these curveballs on strategy, and I had to try and time it. And I didn't come in on lap 32, I didn't come in on lap 33, but now on lap 34 you can see there the lap time and also the grip through 1 and 2. The grip isn't there anymore, and I thought to myself, okay, do I risk it and stay out on the dries? You know, I've only got 2 more laps to go next time we cross the line. I could make this work, but the grip just got worse and worse, you know, like really bad. All of a sudden it was just becoming really poor for grip, and eventually I gave up. I said to myself, right, I'm going to play it safe, I'm going to come in for the inters, and I'm not going to risk anything. I'm going to keep it nice and safe because the track is definitely ready for the intermediates now. And going to the pit lane, you'll see now DRS does get disabled, and pretty much we've timed this to absolute perfection. There you go, DRS disabled, and we're coming in for the intermediates. Luckily for me, Corny also came in, so he's going to match me on strategy, therefore the gap isn't going to come down anymore. And the real game changer here was Lasser. Lasser actually stayed out on the dryers until the end of the Grand Prix because him versus Corny was a championship battle this race, and Lasser knew that if he wanted to have any chance of getting a championship or keeping his hopes alive, he had to roll the dice, and Lasser stayed out on the dryers to the end of the Grand Prix and actually overtook Corny. But then eventually Corny on the inters just had too much pace and ended up re-overtaking him. And also you'll see with me as well, the pace in the inters was just too much, and it was definitely the right call to pit in for the intermediates, even if it was just for 2 laps, because they were so much faster. And here we go then, on to the last lap of the Grand Prix, the final corner, onto the pit straight, and we're going to come through to win our first race of the season, a big 25 points. And I was super happy with that, really ecstatic. It's been a long time coming, and you know, I've had some poor races and also some races where I should have won. I won in Silverstone, but I had a 3-second time penalty which gave me 2nd place. But finally we pick up our win, and I can finish the season and say, right, I've hit my target of getting at least 1 race win, and I was very happy. We played the strategy beautifully, the overtakes were perfect, qualifying was great at 1 lap pace, and we was generally very quick in the wet and very quick in the dry. We wasn't the quickest in the dry though, there was others faster than me, but crucially it was all about management and being quick in both conditions. And as you can see on screen, we actually, even with the penalty, it didn't really affect us too badly, and we win the Brazilian Grand Prix ahead of Corny, who has now become the world champion in Formula 3 PC. And then we've got Lasser, 3rd runner-up, pretty much confirmed in the championship, Julian P4 with some penalties to his name, and then we've got Brownie, Hazard, Lemon down in P7, Skatey, Assassin and Signac in P10. Currently I'm battling Signac here, and it's me versus him for the 3rd place position in the championship, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 4th place, I'm not really sure. We'll find out in a moment in the standings. But then we got JSR who retired, and then also Hayden as well. But now we're going to move into the standings, like I said before, and Corny has won, so mathematically he's the champion. I do apologise, the standings are not up to date. I've been waiting a few days to see if they would get updated, but they still haven't been updated, so I'm going to try and talk you guys through it pretty much. So the gap between Corny and Lasser is 47 points before Brazil. Obviously Corny outscored Lasser, so the gap is bigger than 50 points, and yeah, pretty much it was nearly impossible for Lasser to pull off the miracle there. So Corny wins, Lasser's pretty much guaranteed 2nd now in the championship mathematically, I believe, and then Ian Bastien is actually Signac, who finished 10th. He changed his name midway through the season. Round Drop doesn't race anymore, Lemon is 5th, Martin G is 6th, but with that race win, I believe we jump up to 4th place. So we're going to be more or less, if my maths is correct, we should be, if I'm on 95, we should be pretty damn close to Bastien there, so we should be on around 120 points. So I think we're going to be 17 points behind Ian Bastien or Signac going into Abu Dhabi. So 17 points is still a lot of points to overturn in one race. But if Ian Bastien has a race like today and we have one like we did as well, then that can easily be turned around. So we're going to try our best, see if we can get that third place in the championship in the bronze medal position, so to speak, and the third step on the podium. But really happy, ecstatic with the first win, and I was just pleased to really get that monkey off my back and put that one to bed. Also my first pole as well, so pretty much a flawless weekend. We didn't get the fastest lap, so it wasn't a grand slam, but still a good weekend nonetheless. And if you guys did enjoy this video, then please do drop a like and also get subscribed for daily Formula 1 content. Turn on notifications, do not miss a single upload from me, and finally check out these 2 videos on your screen if you have missed them. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of the AOR Racing League, and guys, I'll see you in my next one very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.